coming. This is Lunada Literary Lounge. This is the first one we've had in person in a really long time. It's about 3 years now that we've had it in person Lunada at the old Galería space. How many of you have, participated or gone to a Lunada before? Oh, a few of you. Yay! So there's a lot of new faces here. My name is Yvette Diaz. I'm the programs coordinator at Galería de la Raza. We were previously located on 24th Street, 24th and Bryant, and we were actually displaced out of that site about 3 years ago. And ever since then, we've been kind of like on the go. And because of the pandemic, we kind of started doing Lunada virtually. So we did a partnership with our sister organization, Borderlands Theater in Tucson, Arizona. I don't know if any of you saw that. We did live streams with a bunch of different literary artists, performers, musicians throughout like 2020. And then we kind of switched gears and did it ourselves with our host, Yosina Reyes. He took the helm and kind of led us through all of 2021. And now, since we're kind of all going back to in-person, just like events and stuff, we kind of graciously are trying to get back into an in-person site and location event. So now we're here at YBCA for this month. So we'd like to thank our host, YBCA, for having us. I don't know if you all have kind of gone through, but we also have an exhibition titled Pedagogy of Hope, Uncage, Reunify, Heal, and it's just a survey of the Caravan for the Children campaign that we did all through 2021. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, I can say a few words. My name is Olga Talamante. I'm actually co-chair of the Caravan for the Children and longtime supporter and admirer of Galería de la Raza and definitely of the staff like Yvette and Ani Rivera and Henry Rivera. As part of the Caravan for the Children that we have been organizing for the last 2 years, that's a campaign on behalf of the children that were separated under the Trump administration 4 years ago. Those children that were like literally taken from their parents' arms, at the border. And there are still 1,200 children that are not reunified with their families. So we launched this campaign to basically to raise the issue and to raise the awareness. And there is a task force that was formed a year ago by President Biden, and is the interagency task force for the reunification of families. I mean, this is one of those situations where like it's in your job title that you're supposed to do this. So we launched a postcard campaign directed at the task force. We delivered 2,400 individually signed postcards 2 weeks ago in DC, and we're going back next week because we have a meeting with the executive director of the task force, and we're saying we're bringing the voice of our Bay Area community as well as over 4,000 signatures online that people signed from throughout the country. So the main message to them is, look, the 4 most powerful agencies in the government, Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, Department of Justice, the State Department, they should be able to reunify 1,200 kids. They've only reunified 200 in the past year. So it's up to us. It's up to us, the people, to monitor them, to hold them accountable. And that's what our campaign is about. And I really encourage you to look at the exhibit that's here at YBCA, which is called Pedagogy of Hope, which is the art center component of our campaign. Because we have learned over the many years in our movements, in our organizing, that art, that culture is so important for our survival. Because the art gives us the images, and it gives us the sound, it gives us the songs and the music that feed our hearts and feed our souls so that we can continue to organize and we can continue to struggle. And in this case, it is a campaign struggling for the reunification of those children that have been separated for 4 years. Some of them were like 6, 7, 8 years old. And you can only imagine the trauma, the pain that they have being separated. So in the Lunadas, the last couple that we've done have been very much connected to the Caravan for the Children. We have had poets from Central America, from Mexico, from other parts of Latin America, who are immigrants themselves, or their families are immigrants, and so they connect to the reality of the children. And you can see some of the poetry on the quilts that were embroidered as a message of love for the children. And so that's what tonight is also about. We're so glad to have these amazing poetas that are going to be here with us tonight. And I know we have at least one brave soul that signed up for the open mic. And we think that there may be some others out there almost on the verge. And we encourage that, because that's what this space is. It is to share, what you're working on, the words that you want to share with the community. This is a great group here in person, and we also know that we have many people that have signed on virtually. So you're in good company, and this would be a good place to share your poetry. You have a question?
¿Podemos firmar?
Excuse me?
¿Tú vas a llevar tarde para firmar?
Sí, tengo tarjetas para firmar. Oh, yeah. And I do have postcards for you all to sign. So I'll definitely get them out and pass them around to you, and we can take your voice with us. And that's actually very strengthening for us to go to DC and say our community is with us. So it would be great to have all of you that have not signed before. So Ms. Yvette, what do we do from now?
Oh, well, right now, first I want to give a shout out to the people that are watching us online. This is being live streamed, so just adding a little more pressure to the performers. But yeah, we wanted to do a kind of hybrid, in-person, virtual, literary event. So people that do want to join but don't feel quite safe yet coming into a site with more people in there, they can be at home in their comfort of their own home, under blankets or whatnot, and they can watch the show from their house. But yes, I definitely encourage you, if you have a piece of work that you're still kind of troubleshooting, or even an old piece of work, very old piece of work. I'm gonna use that. I welcome you to share that with us. If you are feeling brave today, if not, that's okay. There's always next time, because we will be having more Lunadas in the future. Do you want to introduce that?
Yeah, I will. Just another plug for the open mic. This is it's a special Lunada because it is the blood moon, and that's a very special moon that we are having these days. So really happy to introduce our first poeta, Flavia Elisa Mora. Flavia is a queer Mexican migrant activista raised in occupied Ramaytush colony land in a neighborhood that now is known as La Misión. You probably know it. Amongst our interdisciplinary art practice, her main two focus are muralismo and flor y canto poesía. Through painting on top of ladders and weaving singing into poetry, she finds herself closer to her ancestry, rooted in the ranchos of Aguascalientes, Mexico. Flavia's work delves into the exploration of her identity, relationships, migration story, and community history. Flavia's prioritization of her own healing lies with her belief that revolution starts from the heart. She hopes that through her art, she can help create space for inspiration and positive change in her community. Please welcome Flavia to the stage.
I am the voice of the unrepresented, of those who were thought of last, whose voices still echo in the crevices of nopales and sweet dreams host in the magenta bodies of tunas, waiting for the next. For travelers like my papi, lost from the group, saved from a mossy gallon in the middle of nowhere. His body grew faith from the water of an activist and from the seeds of those who did not make it. I am the desert flower that bloomed. Yo soy la flor del desierto que floreció. Thank you. That was my first poem. Flor del desierto, which is dedicated to my father. This next piece I wrote right at the beginning of COVID. So 2020, there was a lot happening, different pandemics happening that have been going on for a long time. So this poem is dedicated to that. The light creeps in, rest on the tombstone of a year not fully buried. Death still lurks here, most contagious to the most oppressed. 6 feet, can't touch, can't hug, can't kiss. I hear the broadcaster announce, followed by the blue and red puppeteers haggling over a nation's hunger for health, food, shelter, and justice. So how exactly does the light still manage to creep in when the hospitals and cemeteries have exceeded their capacity, when children are still caged and torn from their families, when the police throw parties for white terrorists at the Capitol, yet prepare for war during Black Lives Matter and Indigenous-led protests? The sun knocks heavily at my door as I wonder about the meaning behind all this suffering. The silence, however, is mightier than my faith towards the preachings of so-called leaders promising to heal a nation that's been bleeding longer than the red stripes spangled over our heads. However, I invite the morning rays at my doorstep. My eyelids linger in their miraculous warmth as I inhale passing currents from the norte. I wonder if this very moment is it. The moment one summons the teachers, the guides, the creators, the ancestors, and the children's on the other side of the veil. Invite them to flutter our way during mornings of grief and watch them suck on the nectars as a reminder to breathe while we still can, to fill our lungs with the right words that shall spark embers that kindle accountability, flames that burn prisons, fires that melt ice, and heat that evaporates the particles of not one, but all pandemics. Past the ashes, the water of our actions shall feed the flowers we bring to the dead. Thank you. So this next piece is called Raíces, and you can actually find the piece on one of the quilts in the, do you know what room it is? The exhibit?
It's right across.
Right across.
Yeah.
So it's hanging in one of Paola de la Calle's quilts, so you can read it there as well. La justicia y libertad corren entrelazadas como raíces, más antiguas que las fronteras y más resistentes que el arma del opresor. Justice and liberty run and are laced like roots, older than frontiers and more resistant than the arm of the oppressor. Thank you. This next piece is titled Beautiful Outlaw Bird. Sweet orchestra fluttering in disguise of trees, Sun Ra would find himself amused to the sound of your symphony. You embody small or not at all, messages elevated at the sky. They dance like a somber melody, tints of blue that signal hope, a black nightgown gliding beneath the autumn sun. You advise the living about the dead, and the dead about the hunted living. Watching you is remembering liberty. Before the curtain of the oppressor falls, no constraint can hush us from singing. So this next piece is a little queer love poem, just to mix it up. It's titled Soul Revival. The few divine seconds I'm coated in your sweat, my head rolled back, pupils dilated to the sky, my eyes flashing back to many moons ago, as I feel your flesh make mine static. I can taste rose water, fluid memories older than this lifetime. For those few divine moments tangled in your legs, my soul remembers when you and I were butterflies, wings pulsating amongst a summer breeze, fading into the blue. My spirit turns to my clenched limbs. I become reacquainted with the present, the dark room illuminated by the outside green reflection of the stoplight, turning yellow, then red. My heart rests from ecstasy and is lullabied by the moonlight sitting on your brown eyes. So I've been doing a lot of poetry on memory because I was born in Mexico, but I migrated at the age of 6. And surprisingly, I actually have a really vivid memory of Mexico. So I've been doing poetry that ties back to that. This one is called El Cerro del Muerto. Alone is where I find myself most accompanied by the videotapes of my childhood. Memories of infant fingers unwinding the guts of Disney movie cassettes. Faint images of my tia cutting off la cabeza de gallo. Flashbacks of mi primo's cackle fading into the barking of perros, echoing onto the hollows of Tio Caltiche's cobblestone streets. Escuingles making up leyendas de rancho from my abuela azotea. I watched the green silhouette of a woman's body over the horizon. El Cerro del Muerto, they called her, the Mount of the Dead. Thank you. And then this next poem is dedicated to my mommy. So just kind of in the themes of reunification and separation from families, this poem has a lot to do with that. Somos troncos. Somos troncos, my mommy says to me as we sit on a stoop across Rock Bar. Somos troncos, she says as our tears fall amongst change, the fog, and an unexpected night in Frisco. Somos troncos, she says while I hold her hand like grasping every gaze, every dicho, every spice, every grito, every cradle, for this could be the last time. Somos troncos. My mommy repeats, and I wonder about the tallest redwood, the one that could watch over Mexico, my sick abuela, and the arrival of my mommy. Somos troncos, she whispers. And I wonder about the trunks and the trees and the roots, extending like a mother's embrace, powering beneath frontiers and unjust laws. Somos troncos, my mommy says one last time, as we embrace, tangled like hojas de árbol, and she leaves like the fog towards the south. Thank you. And I'm just gonna do this final poem, which is on the fresher side, so y'all get some fresh material. It doesn't have a title yet, but it goes like this. A veces, mis raíces solo se sienten en las venas. Sometimes my roots are only felt in the veins. They can't be traced in the ashes of burnt libros, nor in the silence of lenguas cortadas, lost dialects swirling around the tumbas of my ancestors. My tia abuela engraves her words in my memory when I ask her, pero de dónde venimos? And she responds, mija, todo se quemaba en tiempo de revolución. De las cenizas, I pick up the remnants of my family history, like I picked hongos, maguey, nopales y alfalfa con mi abuela. El mezquite de las naciones chichimecas hangs heavily over the familial tree of my memory. Its sweet taste reminds me of the indigenous women before me, mujeres de rancho, mujeres de tierra y manantiales, mujeres de cerros, milpas, huertas de calabazas, casas de adobe y cielos rasgados de nubes. Do not come. Do not come is the voice that divides two lands once united, and is the voice that impedes my lips from kissing tierra natal and my mother's forehead. Cempasúchil regada por un cementerio across the border. Its fragrance connects me to my bisabuelos and them of I. My blood, it speaks too. Tú eres hija de este continente. You are a daughter of this continent. Mi sangre, it shouts too. Reunify now. Uncage now. Give the land back. Regresen la tierra. Ya. Thank you.
Give it up for Flavia again. Let's throw in a little wrench here. Is our open mic participant ready to perform, or where are they? Who's
Reina.
bringing up the business?
Yeah, I'm the wrench.
Yeah. Do you wanna come up here?
Yeah, I can go.
Everyone else, you should be as brave as Reina.
Yeah.
Sign up for open mic.
I'm only doing this because I was trying to pressure my son to come up here. But legitimately, I wrote this May 7th at 11:37 because I couldn't sleep. So I am legitimately inspired by my grandma's memory. She passed away March 11th. So I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that she's super Catholic, or she was super Catholic. So this is to my mamalita. Abuela nuestra que estás en el cielo, te sacrificaste como una santa. Ven a nosotros tu amor, como cuando caminaste la tierra. Ahora desde el cielo, danos hoy nuestro consejo de cada día y perdona mis malas crianzas, así como nosotros te perdonamos tus ofensas. Protégenos de las tentaciones y libéranos ahora al pueblo. Ali Amam.
I'm so glad to be co-hosting with Yvette tonight. As you can see, we haven't been doing this in a while, so we have to keep checking in with each other. But so again, so glad that those of you who are here in person, as well as those that are joining us with live stream. I wanted to just let you know and confirm that yes, I do have postcards that we can sign when we're done with the program, and also hopefully you'll get to see the exhibit that I was mentioning, and that Flavia. Part of Flavia's poem is in one of the beautiful quilts that were done by Paula de la Calle. I want to acknowledge the organizations that are part of the Caravan for the Children, who have been working for the last 2 years on this campaign to Uncage, Reunify, and heal the children. And those three things are very important because they have to be, like freed from wherever they're in detention, as well as reunified with their loved ones, and then healed, because we know that there have to be resources and there has to be attention paid to heal the trauma that the children and their families have been suffering for the last 4 years. So the organizations that have been part of this amazing campaign that we've been involved in here in the Bay Area is Galería de la Raza, Caravan in San Francisco, Land Racial Equity Project, Instituto Familiar de la Raza, and Chicana Latina Foundation that I was executive director for a number of years, and some of you know that are here. Just, it's all this work from the heart. One of our Ohlone sisters has told us, when we see the tragedies, the brutal attack on our Black community in Buffalo, it just happened, the ongoing separation of the children, the decision that may come down to take our rights away as women to choose. All of that can just really break our hearts. And my Ohlone sister Corina said, yes, we can have broken hearts. We can acknowledge that we have broken hearts, but a broken heart is also an open heart. And so we can take that break and bring in healing and bring in love and bring in joy, so that we can heal from that brokenness, and put ourselves together, all together, to continue to do the work. So, and hearing the poetry from Flavia and Reina already, that's part of the healing. I hope that you're feeling that as well, as I know I am. And now I'm going to introduce our second poet of the evening, Dulce Maria. Dulce is a Bay Area poet whose work touches on themes of identity, politics, loss, and love. Most recently, she has delved into story writing and is excited to explore poetic prose. Dulce has been working on a poetry collection based on 40-plus interviews conducted in 2020. She hopes to stop procrastinating. Well, I think many of us can say that. So I join you in that hope. And finish that project this year. Dulce had burned out. Again, I think we can share that. And is slowly trying to find a way back to herself. She feels humble in her collaboration with Galería de la Raza and the Caravan for the Children. Thank you for that, Dulce. Please join us to come up here.
Hi everyone. Can everyone hear me, or do I need the mic? Okay. So I'm gonna read the poem that I wrote. That's on the quilt that Paola de la Calle put together. Same like Flavia. So I'm gonna do it first in English and then in Spanish. And the title is A Tree Gives a Speech. We are witnesses to the explosive games of hide and seek, unmitigated tantrums of taller children, playing dress up behind suits and ties, justifying war in the name of God. Let our olive branches break the cages of oppression, and our roots crack the asphalt of systems. When our bark is the color of the earth, breathing is a revolutionary act. When there are laws wanting us to disappear, in the name of progress, they cut our bodies, our temples, forcing our spirits to migrate in search of a safe home where we can share our gifts. Let our fire be sacred, our spirits migrate across generations, a banyan tree. So this is the version in Spanish. Un árbol da un discurso. Somos testigos de los juegos explosivos a las escondidillas, los berrinches exacerbados de niños altos, jugando a los disfraces detrás de trajes y corbatas, justificando la guerra en nombre de Dios. Que nuestras ramas de olivo rompan las jaulas de la opresión y nuestras raíces quiebren el asfalto de los sistemas. Cuando nuestra corteza es del color de la tierra, respirar es un acto revolucionario. Cuando hay leyes queriendo que desaparezcamos en nombre del progreso, cortan nuestros cuerpos, nuestros templos, forzando nuestros espíritus a migrar en busca de un hogar seguro donde podamos compartir nuestros dones. Que nuestro fuego sea sagrado, nuestros espíritus migren a través de generaciones, una higuera de Bengala. So that was a tree gift speech, and you can check it out in the exhibit. So this one, I wrote it a long time ago. I said, what the heck, I'll read it. When I used to live in Mexico, I went to college there for 1 year, and I lived in Querétaro, which is a central state of the country, and the train passes through there that comes to the U.S., and I would hear it because I lived right by the train. So this is it. I sit in my room with an open window. I am writing an essay for a scholarship asking me how my Hispanic heritage has influenced my career goals. I write about immigration. Then comes the noise in the background. Es el tren, la bestia, the beast. Como un espíritu en pena se manifiesta cuando pienso en ella. By the time I end my thought, the noise becomes silent. La bestia ya pasó, y en esta noche tan fría, de seguro también, ya pasó un migrante. Thank you.
Okay, one more round of applause for Dulce because she was super brave and she shared the little poem with us. So I'm suggesting that we take about a 10-minute break right now. If you want to go check out the exhibition, check out some of the quilts before coming back in here. And Olga also has postcards if you want to sign a postcard and continue supporting the campaign. You can. So yeah, let's take a break. We'll come back in 10 or so.
We started our journey, if you will, locally in San Francisco on January 21st, the first day of the new administration. Our hearts were broken when the previous administration started the zero tolerance policy. That was at the beginning of 2018, and we've been working since then in various ways. We formed the committee to produce the song, Our Children Are Sacred, and we produced the song and the video to send that message of love, that message of welcome to the children. Some of them are still detained, and so we formed this coalition to do a caravan here to Washington, D.C.
We're here at Park in San Francisco in the Bay. Love you, Bay Area. We're so proud to be going out to San Diego to break bread with the allies who are on the ground, supporting the children, and on both sides in Tijuana and in San Diego.
I feel so blessed to be part of the Caravan for the children, and we've become a family. We have spent a lot of countless hours planning, thinking, being very intentional and thoughtful about our journey and our purpose. And I feel like we really have met that vision, that mission that we have, and we've learned so much from each other and from so many people, and the work is not done. La lucha sigue.
Yo le canto a sus volcanes, a sus praderas y flores, que son como talismanes del amor de mis amores. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormida y que me traigan aquí, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti.
I'm just really proud of the work that our delegation has done to elevate and visibilize the voice of our immigrant community, and especially the unheard voices of those children that are still in the ICE detention centers.
Heading to Chicano Park to start our little rally, to start our Caravan of Love, the Floricanto. We're going to be starting at 10:40 or 9:45, and from there we're going to go to the convention center to sing to the children and to show some solidarity and love, to demand that they be uncaged, reunified, and healed.
Si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormida y que me traigan aquí, que digan que estoy dormida y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti. ¡Ay, sí, señores! Hay que cambiar mañana, así como cambio yo en esta tierra lejana. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. sembrando que la nueva vida abajo en la tierra. Dice así. Our children are sacred, nuestros niños son sagrados. Our children are beautiful, bellos son. Our children are a gift, son el regalo más amado. Our children are sacred, sagrados son. Together, listo. Our children are sacred, nuestros niños son sagrados. Our children are beautiful, bellas son. Our children are a gift, son el regalo más amado. Our children are sacred, sagrados son. Dice así. Cuánta dulzura y valor de una madre y su hijo que migra y camina hacia una vida mejor. If this is really the home of the brave.
We made it! We made it!
We've reached our 100th day. We reached, our plan for our journey. We made it to Washington. We made it to the border, to San Diego, to Tijuana. We made it to Washington, D.C.
It's not the end. It is a culmination of this stage of our caravan for the children to uncage them, reunify them, and heal them. And we're not going to get tired of saying those three words until all the children that are in the ICE detention centers are uncaged and reunified and healed.
I feel so warm in my heart because clearly all of us are asking for the same thing, and that is for the Biden-Harris administration to fulfill their promise. We've reached 100 days of their first 100 days in government, and we're still waiting. They campaigned on immigrants, just like Trump campaigned on hate against immigrants, and we're tired of it. Stop playing politics with migrants and take action. So it's very symbolic that we're here standing in front of the House of Congress.
To be in this specifically, 3 months, 4 months later, in this location behind us that was all about white supremacy, and now to be here with the quite opposite, a message of love, of unity, of pride for our migrant community. It's just really fills my heart with joy.
We went to the San Diego-Tijuana border. We have marked the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and we're here to mark the 100th day of the new administration. And we want to tell them that we appreciate their words. We will appreciate their actions so much more when they immediately liberate the children, reunify them, and start the process of healing them.
Llenas de esperanza de una vida con ganas de amar, pues son las maestras, doctores, artistas, madres, ingenieras de un mundo de paz. Vamos, our children are sacred, nuestras niñas son sagradas. Our children are beautiful, bellas son. Our children are gifts, son el regalo más amado. Our children are sacred, sagradas son children. Our children are sacred. We welcome and embrace the family, yeah.
that has been shared with us tonight. So so glad to introduce the third poeta that was signed up to be here tonight. There's still room for open mic folks if you are so moved to share any poetry or any anything really, poetry, a song, a story. So we're just glad to be in person, partially at least, and then also the live stream. So okay, so our next poeta, Bernice Espinosa. I'm gonna read what is official presentation on her, and then I'll share a little bit more. Her lifelong dedication to social justice has led her activism, advocacy, a career in law, and even poetry, all of which center on the social justice issues close to her heart, particularly immigration. And you can see why it makes so much sense that we have had the poetess here tonight, because immigration is a running theme. Racial justice and criminal justice reform. Bernice has been writing since she was 11 years old and has 3 published poems. She derives her purpose from her faith in the community she serves. Her belief that she can always try to use her educational privilege and resources to serve others is what sustains her through challenging times. On a personal note, it's amazing how long actually Bernice and I have known each other. She received the Chicana Latina Foundation Scholarship in 2003, which is still an undergraduate. She's a lawyer now, so. And have seen her throughout various events and conferences when she was struggling to try to figure out how she was going to make it through law school. And now she's working and winning asylum cases for our people. So this is how the world just comes around us. The universe, comes together. Bernice was at a conference where she met Ani Rivera, the executive director of Galería de la Raza, a few weeks ago, and shared her poem. And Ani said, "You have to come to the Lunada," and somehow connected that they both knew me. So behave out there, because you never know who's going to know you. So you know. So good to have you here. So welcome, Bernice.
I just want to acknowledge the amazingness that is Doña Olga Talamante and how I can be on this stage because of her. For all that she's done for women of color, for immigrants, for queer people. Thank you.
You're my heart.
Okay, ya no voy a chillar. At least till the next poem. This poem's called Lessons Learned by a Pocha. As a little girl, Mommy and Papi used to speak to me in Spanish, but I responded in English, so little by little, my Spanish-speaking tongue nearly became numb. Then junior high, too afraid to speak Spanish because my English accent might be too strong. So instead me quedé callada. And now, while I don't know the language perfectly, I do know with this lenguaje comes a cultura, and I'll never forget what I've learned. I've learned que la verdad no peca pero incomoda, and sometimes the truth needs to be confronted, like the fact that our people work long hours for low wages. But despite these adversities, I choose to celebrate. I celebrate mi mamá, who used to clean our house and the houses of the rich and make them as clean and as beautiful as her soul. And would protect me from the cucuy, even the real monsters, the racists at my schools. I celebrate the tias who prick their finger time after time in the garment industry sweatshops so that I can wear trendy clothes. I celebrate the tios and every restaurant cocina, adding Latin flavor to any cuisine because it's made by their labor. I celebrate the elote and paleta man, who used to make me smile as a child, calling me to an elote or a paleta tan dulce with their campana. corn smothered in cheese, un paleta de coco. I celebrate Mami Berta, abuelita, with stories that give wisdom, porque el diablo sabe más por viejo que por diablo. I celebrate you, Daddy, building buildings that reach the sky the way my gente reached the sky. Lengueja mía, esta pochita sabe. If it were those who've come to make better lives, not for themselves, but for me, I would not be here. It's because of them. My sisters, my brothers can be the lawyers, teachers, doctors, scientists, politicians, activists. Lengueja mía, esta pochita sabe los esfuerzos de mi gente y tengo orgullo. Drink some more water, about all dry up there. Okay, so as it was stated, I am a deportation defense attorney. I was in public defense for 14 years before that. I've been doing this for not even 2 years, but I've seen how our families have been separated for a long time. And so I wrote this poem thinking about the myth of La Llorona. And so this is La Nueva Llorona. I should let you know, I was born in El Paso, all my family lives in Juarez. So here we go. Ya no podemos vivir aquí. Las pandilleros son los que mandan. So like the Quetzal, it is time to fly north con mis hijos de 7 y 8. Because I don't want them to end up in a gang or killed because they refuse, like their tío did. So I packed our backpacks. We headed north, caminando por días, por casi un mes. Con poco dinero, llegamos al río y nos pasaron los coyotes. When we thought we were finally free from fear, violence, torture, the screams and tears, till they tore me apart, de mis hijos. They caged my boys. They caged me. They imprisoned me. They deported me. I do not know where they are. No sé si están vivos. If they fell into the hands of the shelter workers who only give them a sandwich a day, or los soldados, or the ones that touch them not with my loving hands, but to shut them up, but to get their sick joy. Entonces lloro al lado del río, que ya no puedo pasar. ¿Dónde están mis hijos? Mis hijos. Mis hijos, ¿qué hice a mis hijos? Mis hijos. So as Olga's mentioned, it was a struggle getting that bar card. And thankfully I put that mess into a poem. So this was when I was studying for the second time for my bar. So damn it, be that poet, be the one that used to be able to say her voice, not worrying how it would sound. Does the style pretty? Does it reflect a certain jive I want to give out? Since when did I start caring about who's reading these damn lines? And since when did I start to sacrifice the therapy and being true to me? Damn, ni puedo explicar en la manera que fue tan natural para mí por tanto tiempo. ¿Cómo es que me dejé? Me dejé. That's right, I just let my arms down and I let them rape me, take me. Who they? And I didn't even meet what they wanted. Who they? The men in my life, the ones who tell me all the fucking time I'm an undeserving puta who shouldn't be trusted. They, institution of law, bolt, place of both pride for the work I got to do with my fellow strugglers, and I mean strugglers in it all. Struggling to keep my head above water in those damn books I never really understood. Reading those pages after pages by old white men telling us opinions that in the collective are supposed to make sense, are supposed to make justice. But that's not what I learned. I learned with the community struggle, with the people out there in the schools, on the streets, the trabajador, el jornalero, the ones who say, ya basta. That's the one that's going to make justice. Because if it comes to court, someone with health privilege isn't going to see what's happening. No, they've got to apply the law, not make the law. So it's a crazy ass cycle of repeated etymology, and I got it forced in my head by all their pedagogy. I can't conform. I try just so that I can make it. Fight it so I can grip it in my hands and say, now stupid piece of law, you're mine. Death. Just all this stuff in me, my insecurity, feeling like, damn, I used to be a poet. I used to have a heart. I wouldn't let no man, no school, no nothing tell me I ain't worth shit. I would hear it for a minute, maybe. I would believe it for just that, a minute. But then use it to get me fired up, get me going, use that anger to get me motivated and prove them wrong. Hell yeah, show them I'm worth something, damn it. I can do this shit and a hell of a lot more. Just you wait and see, porque esta poeta's coming back in full force. Y ya no me voy a dejar, que me quita lo que tengo en mi corazón. Pura, pura pasión.
Wow.
Si llegas later, no me lo quitaron.
Now if you get a lawyer, who do you go to?
So that was our final poet for the night, unless there's others that want to participate in the open mic. Very open.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your name? What's your name?
Oh, Tiffany.
Tiffany. Okay, welcome Tiffany to the stage.
Yay.
Yay.
And you can take your mask off. So we can hear you better.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Lopez. This is something that I wrote as a reflection. It's called Family Secrets. The more I learn about my family, the farther away I feel from them. The more I understand them, and the more I understand them, the more I channel their sorrow and pain. They simply survived what we all strive to do. Their deeds make them completely human. The buried secrets protect us. It is far too familiar to conceal the truth and continue living a narrative you choose. Isn't that the basis of freedom, though? To create your own narrative? But who are all the characters? What are their stories? I know mine. I know the actions of those around me. I learn from them. They learn from theirs. We don't name the things that scarred them. The coded phrases protect them. We do not name what shame allows to hurt our women. Shame. Where did this come from? If we're talking about power and the continuation of a species, why does lo que la gente va a decir drown out the will to do what is right? Así son las cosas. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany, for, getting the courage to come up here. I know it's really hard. That's it for tonight. Thank you all for coming to our first in-person Lunada in like 3 years.
Yeah.
New faces. We'll be having more Lunadas in the future, hopefully next month, at the next full moon. If you can't come in person, we will be live streaming in our usual platforms, YouTube and Facebook. Thank you to YBCA for hosting us.
Where will it be next month?
Not sure. We will let you know through the platforms on social media where we will be hosting it if it's in person. But yes, thank you to YBCA, to Fiona, YBCA's staff for having us and helping us out. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Oh, thank you to Olga for helping me co-host. Yeah, that's it. If you have any other questions or if you want to sign a postcard, Olga's your gal. She has extra postcards. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you to Flavia and Dulce and Bernice for signing up to be part of the Lunada for tonight. And of course, Tiffany and Reina for stepping up and taking the mic. But thank you. It was really beautiful to hear all of your poems.